Hey friends, hope you're doing great. Maybe you're not. It's been a rough patch for me. So today I took my time and slowed down quilting, and I'm going to show you how to make this, or at least how I made it. Let's get started with another block. Okay, here we have it. All these half square triangles have been made, and I've got a mess to clean up. But these are the half square triangles that will make the block 5 honeysuckle block of the 2025 Back Quarter Shop Sew Sampler quilt along. Well, actually the name of the block is Sweet as Honeysuckle block. It's only sweet as the treble half square triangles are. Not that half square triangles are hard, they're just, for me, they're cumbersome. I finally got them all made and trimmed. I think that's the thing, trimming them down is the cumbersome part for me. I mean, look at this. Whew. Okay, I laid these out. There are 4, and I just laid them out in the order that they will be pieced together. I did cut my corner squares a little larger, and I'm going to trim those down once I have the block together. I've gone from the cut pieces to having it stitched all together, and I think it looks really good. I have to make 3 more. So I'll have another one like this, and then I'll have 2 that are the inverse. The blue will be on the outer blocks, and the red will be in the middle. Seams pressed. Although to make these lay flatter, would have been good for me to use a clapper. But it'll get another press before I stitch the whole quilt together later on this year, because this is from the Sew Sampler that completes in March. We get the last block pattern and the finishing instructions, I believe. So I've got all my blocks here cut. All my pieces cut and laid out in the order that they should be sewn. And all I'm going to do is sew each row. And then I'm going to join the rows. Now, like I said earlier, my half square triangles, I did make those larger and trim them down so they would be as precise as possible. And the only other thing I've done is made my corner squares larger by about 1/2 inch. And when I get the block assembled, I'll trim that down, and I'll show you how I do that too. But I did it on the block, the first one I made. And I'll show you when I do another one. So let me walk you through making one of the blocks. And again, they all get made the same. You have 4 blocks, and you put those 4 blocks together to make one huge block for the Sweetest Honeysuckle block. So that was one unit I made that I showed you a moment ago. Now I'm going to make the other 3. I like to lay out my blocks the way that I'm going to sew them. And I like to sew this way. I'll sew my corners to the side, and then I'll sew it in the middle. But as long as you're sewing these 4 pieces together, you're good. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can sew these 2 together and then sew it together. You can sew these 2 together and then sew these together. However you want to do it. But let's get going. Okay, I've got the 2 pieces, and now I'm going to sew the center, except I've got it upside down. Okay, my corners, my centers, I'm going to sew that together. And if you notice, this is a little larger, and that's where I'm going to trim down those corners in the end. And you don't have to make them larger and trim them down. That's just how I like to do it, in case it just makes it not as wonky. I'm famous for wonky blocks, but that's okay. I'm also going to press. So let me press that. Okay, I've got it pressed. I'm going to put this piece to the side and do the next row. Now I'm going to press them. Top row, second row, third row, bottom row. Okay, they're going in the right direction. Now what I'm going to do is pin so I can match up my seams, because you want your seams to align. And I want my seams to nest, so if this seam's going to the right, I'm going to want these going to the left, and they don't, so I need to fix that. And since I moved these, I'm going to make sure I put them in the right direction before I start pinning. Okay, they are. So now I'm going to pin, nest in my seams. Okay, so you can see the corners are a little bit larger. So all I'm going to do is get a ruler that I can work with to make a 90-degree angle, lining it up with my seams and the edges of the other pieces. Hold that. Just trim it. So it gives me a nice crisp edge, 90-degree angle. Don't do as I do. I know somebody might be getting a little nervous with me getting close to my fingers like that. I'm paying really close attention. And normally I don't do it this way. I use my rotating mat. But just showing you this way, and my camera set up, I have to do it like this. See, I get nice crisp edges. Okay, there's block number 2 of the one large block. I've got 2 blocks made. Now I'm going to do the 2 opposing blocks. Then they're going to come together for one huge block. And that's Sweetest Honeysuckle. It's an 18.5 square block. So I'm going to go ahead and get those two made, and then I'll come back to you and show you how I'm going to join them all together. Okay, I've got it done. So as you can see, those are the blocks we made. We made 4 blocks. And then we just stitched those 4 together, matching the seams. This is a very basic pattern, but there's a lot of blocks to it, or a lot of pieces to it. I think there's over 100 pieces that I cut. So it's a little tedious, but it is doable. You just have to take your time, match your seams. Pressing your seams is important. Getting them to press into the direction so you can lock your seams or nest your seams, that helps a lot. And just taking your time, going slow, helps. Cutting your blocks oversized, or your pieces oversized, so you can trim down. I didn't think I was going to like these 2 fabrics together, but I'm trying to use my stash and not buy more fabric and use up what I've got. I'm going to go as long as I can this year without buying fabric. We'll see how far that goes. There's so much pretty stuff I want, but I'm not going to do it. So if you haven't done block 5 yet, go ahead and get started, and put in the comments any questions you have, anything I can help you with. I'll be glad to comment back and let you know my thoughts. Feel free to comment about this block. Be kind. We're kind here on this channel. But anywho, that's my block number 5 for the flowering sew along with the sew sampler box from Fat Quarter Shop. And again, it runs from April to March the following year. So I'm on block 5. I got behind, life happened, and that's okay, because even though I love sewing and quilting, there's a lot of things that have to come before that. So got block 5 done. I think this month's block is block 10, so I'm 5 blocks behind. I probably won't finish up in March when everybody else does, or a lot of people do, and that's okay, y'all. You don't have to finish up on your sew-alongs at the same time as other folks do. It's okay. It may take you 3 years to do a sew-along that took 12 months, and that's all right. Quit putting pressure on yourself. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the creative craft you're doing. Until next time, talk to you later. Bye, friends.